Another question is, will this event be covering how to buy properties, or is it all about market timing? Uh, Actually, this report is probably the best one we've ever done about the buying property business. It will definitely give you a good indication of the price ranges that you will play in different areas. And that also leads to the different buying systems. So some of the charts that we showed you in Hemet, I'll be talking about as we look at the Hemet chart or the Riverside chart or the Burbank chart. I'll come to different conclusions as we do that. And so yes, we'll be talking about the buying business throughout this seminar because in fact that's what it's written for. I hadn't mentioned this before, but this report really is designed around the customer of the Norris Group. The cities that we cover are the cities that we buy in. So if we did a loan in 2009 or we bought a property in 2009 in a city, it's included in this report. So it's got tremendous coverage, and it's an exact hit on where we buy and sell properties. We cover Northern California. The cities that we have made loans in Northern California will be covered. And honestly, that's not that many. So we will cover Sacramento in depth, just like we will Anaheim, and we're not doing a tremendous amount of other cities in Northern California. The book as it is going to be very thick, and we're going to have probably hundreds of pages that will be available for other cities that we just can't fit in the book. Another question, at a recent open house I went to in the coastal Orange County, Dana Point area, an agent said that wealthy professionals from the Inland Empire area are bidding on 400,000 ocean-close townhomes for use as a vacation home, and that this phenomenon would keep prices from falling further. What's interesting, if there's a $500,000 price point on a Dana Point condo, I have a feeling it probably was worth $1 million before. 500 grand in Dana Point looking at the ocean is probably one of those low-tiered price points that may in fact taken the bulk of their hit. So you are going to find price bands that have really taken the bulk of their hit, and they're different in every city. And I guess that's what is most important, is why not find out what the price band is in your area. You may be able to hold properties with confidence in some of these cities because first of all, the cash flow and the inventory, as we'll be able to look at when we see in a different city, look at the negative equity position of these owners. There's got to be more lender-owned property showing up. You can know that that area is not done with price declines. So that's, I think, why it's so important to have finally figured out the small picture. I got asked so often, or the statement was made, that's how it's working in Riverside, it's not how it's working here. And you know what? I found out that they're correct. It's not working in LA the way it works in Riverside or in Corona or in Orange County. They're all very different. And so finally we have an answer for that. And this iceberg report will be a big asset for you to make very correct decisions and make more accurate decisions as an investor going forward. It doesn't look like there's any more questions. I want to, we do have a question. How does your report address demand or lack of demand for rentals for those of us that hold? What we'll end up doing is we'll end up looking at the available inventory that looks like it's coming. We'll take a look at the amount of inventory that is over encumbered, and we can certainly say that in those areas you will have a glut of rentals, and you probably will suffer some price damage for that rental. In an area like a Burbank where the REO is not going to be producing a lot of excess inventory, you'll probably have rent support. The question, will commercial real estate markets be covered? Absolutely. There's a great chapter on commercial real estate. One of the reasons we did this in such depth is that we wanted to buy a commercial property in the next 18 months. And so I had to make sure that my timing was pretty accurate for that inventory. I guarantee you that the commercial sector is going to take a huge hit. I fully expect that we'll be able to buy a commercial building for land value in Riverside. And that's going to be true for many counties. The lenders just simply overdid it, and you just have loans that are over encumbered. And in the commercial world, it's just different. Loans come due and all payable, not just due and have a monthly price change. They may change the policy and how they deal with that, but you still have an over-encumbered owner that's going to have to add cash to keep the property and get a new loan. I can tell you that they fully expect that the damage to commercial will exceed anything other than the Great Depression, is the report's conclusion that I have. And by the way, as we did one other time, all of the reports that I've read will be made available to you in PDF form. So I honestly have no idea how many reports I've read or looked at. They're in the dozens, and they're probably in the thousands of pages. You'll have a library of things that I've looked at to draw these conclusions if you decide to attend. Another question, will the reports provided as part of the seminar be broken down for the San Diego County into city, community, zip codes, or what? No, we had to take a look at San Diego for the entire city. It would be impossible to do that for every city, as you can imagine. So you'll have different experiences, but the way we chose to do it is we did it by price band. So in Riverside, we looked at the price band as important, because a lot of the high price ranges in Riverside are in 2 zip codes. And so we did it that way, and that's as definitive as we could make it. Another question, what's your take on buying properties where there are multiple offers over the asking price? Why does this happen when there are plenty more foreclosures coming? Well, more foreclosures coming doesn't mean there's tons of foreclosures right now. We definitely have an artificially low level of inventory. And that's one of the categories we'll talk about, because is that a reasonable level of inventory, or is it being manipulated by government intervention? And I think you'll find it's being manipulated. And can they continue to manipulate it? Yeah, they could. Will they choose to do that? I guess we'll discuss that. Multiple offers exist, and yet our loan business is busier than it's ever been. So what we found out that about 40% of our loans that we're doing are being made possible because of relationships with the lender's agent, the listing agent, going and giving the property directly to one of the people that we've taught. And we did teach that technique. You make associates of the people that control inventory, and you'll get your share, and that is working. If you have no connections and you are just one of the many making offers, yes, you will deal with multiple offers all the time. In a boot camp setting, we usually have an REO agent come into the office, and the last person that came in just told us point blank that there was probably a 15% discount in the mind of the lender. That's what they valued, an all-cash offer over a financed offer. So this particular agent had a property that was going for $200,000. The lender took $30,000 less because there was an offer that was all cash, and they preferred that type of offer to a financed one. So if you have cash or access to cash, you can still buy deals, even if they have multiple offers. You do not have to conclude that it's multiple equal offers. An all-cash offer is a superior offer.